Well, hello again to all of you wonderful people that have made your way from this part of the information superhighway to the 109th edition of my weekly series of Weird Mind Newsroom, where this week is probably a much shorter week, presumably, of discussion. We have a small few new releases, a selection of some trailers, and a possible hodgepodge of some news stories. But let's not waste too much time on these introductions. Let's delve into the contents of what's been released in All Things Media for this week.
Moving up and down the game. There's no discharge in the war.
So on the first of the two new releases that we do have for this week is with the focus of looking to get away from it all. The feeling of not being who you should be on this planet, want to leave it all behind, or just feeling like you've lost whatever you're looking for. I wonder if there's anything out there in the vast universe of our own, and when the universe calls out, someone picks up that call, but it's probably one you did not expect. As after initially being delayed for a bit of time and all the discussion how much it would cost to make it, we returned to one of my favorite studios for an all-new original cosmic adventure with Pixar's newest film, of Elio. The film will follow the titular character, an 11-year-old with an obsession with aliens and a very active imagination. So when he is beamed up to the Communiverse, an interplanetary organization with representatives from the galaxies far and wide, Elio's all in for an epic undertaking where he's mistaken as the leader and an ambassador of Earth. He must form new bonds with eccentric alien life forms, including a new friend named Glordon, and also navigate a crisis of intergalactic proportions. The reception on this new original has been seen to very well received reception, with praise to its visuals, its narrative, the characters, and having some bit of its heart and humor still in the right place. And hopefully people will give it all the love and appreciation for more new originals from Pixar, mixing with all their upcoming sequels and stuff. If you want to check it out for yourself, then you can catch this new cosmic adventure out now in cinemas. But taking us back down to earth for the second new release for this week is more near to homes, with a follow-up to a film that started all the way over about 2 decades ago, where something horrific of a virus took shape and caused the downfall of society in a massive nation. And while it could be seen that given time things may improve and return back to normal, in this instance time didn't really heal anything, and things only evolved, as after 2 decades since the original and question of the canonicity of its first follow-up, we have the release of the all-new Danny Boyle and Alex Garland horror film follow-up with 28 years later. The plot will show the audiences that it's been almost 3 decades since the rage virus escaped from the biological weapons lab, and we'll see many who have been living in a ruthlessly enforced quarantine have found ways to exist and live and thrive amid the infected. One such group of survivors lives on a small island connected by a mainland by a single heavily defended causeway. But when the group leaves the island on a dangerous mission into the dark heart of the mainland, he discovers secrets, wonders, and horrors that have mutated not only the infected, but other survivors as well. Reception on this new film has seen some very strong praise from many critics who praised the performances, with the standout being newcomer Alfie Williams, as well as Aaron Taylor-Johnson, Ralph Fiennes, and Jodie Comer. The evolved story and being a well-established legacy sequel and good starting point of a trilogy, with some issues stemming into the editing and even bits in the film such as the divisive ending tone change, and scenes with some audiences are a bit more of a mixed to modest reception in terms of this form. Now, I did see it. Somehow I got invited to the gala screening that happened on Friday, but I did actually meet the director for this movie as well on the same night. There's a photo right there. But somehow I survived it because I know this film is very graphic and gory, and I somehow didn't faint from it. And in the case instance, I think it was a solid film. It may need to give the first 2 a rewatch to make a full decision for the review on this regards, but I may say if you want to check it out and just make your own decision on this, and we'll see how it comes about with the rest of the 2 films. But if you want to do so, you can catch the new film out now in cinemas, with the next part of the Bone Temple with the planned trilogy coming out in January of next year. With all of that now, that's all the new releases that we do have for this week.
We're sorry to bother you at a time like this, Mrs. Twice. We would have come earlier, but your husband wasn't dead then.
Now, on the first of the trailers for the week is one that may not be the brightest bulb in the box and may not be the most qualified, but being a part of this team of officers was what he was born to do, like his daddy before him, as you're returning to the company of Police Squad to tackle a new case with a new generation of a police legend, as you have received a trailer for the all-new take on the reboot The Naked Gun. Serving as a legacy sequel to the original trilogy of films following Lieutenant Frank Drebin, we follow the Frank Drebin Jr., in this played by Liam Neeson, the son of original Police Squad member Frank Drebin, played by the late Leslie Nielsen, as we follow on the footsteps of his bumbling father and must solve a mysterious murder case to save the entirety of Police Squad from being shut down, and will do so, no matter the method of stupidity he may cause. So like the original trilogy of Naked Gun films has been well known as some of the most well-beloved comedies of all time, there was a lot of case that this one may be going to lose that appeal or be seen as sort of difficult to work in this modern day with film and comedy. It's kind of a whole thing with comedy stuff in this day and age. But from what I've seen and shown from the trailer, I think it honestly looks like it could be a really stupid fun time, and a fair bit of the jokes in this trailer did give me a bit of a chuckle when I need them most. I will probably give this a proper look in due time when the case gets underway when it hits into cinemas from August 1st of this year. Now, with summer arriving this week, and let me tell you, the heat needs to go, this next trailer will bring us to the question that some things that we did in our past may come back to either haunt us or scar us in our regards. And in the case with this group, an incident that reoccurred in their past for them has come back to take revenge, and it seems to have been something that happened in a similar form a long time ago, and may need some help to resolve this ordeal, as we have received the second and probably final trailer for the upcoming sequel and reboot of I Know What You Did Last Summer. The film will follow a similar story to the original of 5 friends inadvertently causing a deadly car accident decide to cover up their involvement and make a pact to keep it a secret between them instead of facing consequences. But a year later, their past comes back to haunt them as they learn someone does know what they did, and now they're stalked by a mysterious killer. They seek out to help those that survived the original Southport Massacre in 1997 and hopes and help them escape the torment. So it's a case with this series that it has its fair share of fans and may appeal to some more than others. I know likes this films were not that well received and helped to revive the slasher genre of horror back in the 90s and stuff with it, like the case with the Scream franchise. In the case, I can see where some will enjoy it, but to me, I can kind of give or take the likes of this one. It's not really jumping out at me in terms of the appeal and humor. But then again, this could end up being like a Final Destination thing where like it turns out to actually pretty good. I haven't seen it. I've heard it's really good though. So it may be a case we could get some strong reception and be the best one in the series, but I guess we'll have to see sort of in due time for this one, as this film will be hitting into cinemas from the 18th of July of this year. As on the last of the film trailers for this week is taking us to the realm of some of what I would guess is going to be one aiming for the award season category, as we have a look at the new take on a famous face getting their own personal biographical film. I've seen like some big names so far in music get their treatment, from the likes of Elton John, Freddie Mercury, Elvis, and eventually when it comes out from shifting release dates of a possible 2-parter film for Michael Jackson. But with this next one, you may know him simply as The Boss, and a legend of music, as we receive the first trailer for the biofilm based on famous musician of Bruce Springsteen with the new film of Springsteen, Deliver Me From Nowhere. The film will be set in the early 80s and will follow the creation of Springsteen's 1982 album of Nebraska, where he was a young musician on the cusp of global superstar, while struggling to reconcile with the pressures of success from the ghosts of his pasts. So in all case, I know a little about Springsteen himself, mainly likes some of his music and tracks overall, and it seems to be a case that it will be interesting to see the portrayal of one part of his life rather than the full career many have been shown before and are known for. And I feel it makes sense in that kind of format, like just point to like a personal point in his life, that like the really kind of where everything really took off from. I think the case of the choice in Jeremy Allen White, who the only thing I know him from is the Bear playing Bruce himself, I think is a really solid choice, and I'm sure if it appeals in the overall form, we'll probably see a sense of success and possible award season contender stuff here. But I guess we will see in due time when the film is delivered from nowhere onto the big screen later this year on October 25th. As for our one game trailer for this week, we are heading to the world of Nintendo for this next title, as things are going to get crazy, bonkers, and I dare even say a little bit bananas, as everyone's favorite tie-wearing ape is back again, and about time too, and this time he has a new young companion to get in the groove for going on a journey to go deep into the planet's surface to find some special treasures, as he received a special direct and trailer for the all-new title for the Switch 2 of Donkey Kong Bonanza. The game will have you play as the iconic ape as you travel to the Ingot Islands to discover about the recently discovered Bonandium gems amidst the gold rush. Soon he is swept up by a dangerous storm and sent to a place underground that is shown to have a form of a hollow earth-like terrain, where he soon ends up in a conflict with a gang of villainous apes known as the Void Code, who steal the Bonandium gems and plan to reach the planet's core in order to gain a special wish as the legends foretell, and with the assistance of a young girl named Pauline, you will go on a big smashing adventure to stop them from stealing the magic and save the day. So I remember this being teased at the end of the original Switch 2 reveal direct 2 months ago. I thought it was about time for a new DK focused title, and after being quiet for a bit of this direct came along and soon had me much more invested in this title than I already was, because I was already excited for that new one. And this feeling getting taking elements of both Mario Odyssey in size and scope and adding a mix of DK64 and so much more in there has made it look like this will be one of the most tapped titles for the year. I'm even more excited to try to stay on this game. And in all cases, we don't have to wait too long for this as well, as the game will be smashing its way onto Switch 2, and as also you can still play this on the Switch 1 in some regards, from the 17th of July. And as for the final trailer to focus for this week, is we'll focus on some TV entertainment as we are heading back to the States, to a little bar that is in the control around by what I would say is the worst people you may know. But those idiots of owners are expected to get into some crazy outcomes and hijinks, as the gang of Paddy's Pub are back again, as we receive the trailer for the upcoming 17th season of the popular series of It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. Now this season will see the gang get up to some more mission adventures in their state of Philadelphia, including becoming EMTs, becoming contestants on The Bachelor, and even doing some community service as some substitutes for a little school known as Abbott Elementary, I believe. And I'm sure things will go wrong, but it's expected with this group of people. So as I say, I remember first binging this series about 2 years ago and realized how much I should have watched it sooner. So I enjoyed it a lot more than I expected, and with some great chemistry and comedy with this group over the seasons, and this one looks to still be keeping the energy and comedy going strong. I'm sure it'll be worth to see how these crazy hijinks these crazy folks will get up to in due time. Thankfully, it's not too far away as well, as we seeing this gang again in 2 weeks time on Hulu in the US, and I believe probably Netflix over here or Disney Plus from the 9th of July. And with all that regards, that's all the trailers that we do have for this week.
The role of a lifetime!
So on the first of some news stories with a hodgepodge variety of discussions for this week is the focus of this one all having all connections with one another in the form of some news on the world of superhero entertainment, as we have about 4 stories currently in the pipeline to come from this week that is focused mainly on Marvel, but with one in the area of the DC studios. But let's get into the focus on what those stories are in general. So the first of the stories that I will focus on with Marvel is most recently announced, and this is with an all-new addition of someone else joining the next film in the Spider-Man series. It's already an established character that we have been introduced to the MCU, and we've already seen this year already. And as with the announcement on Friday that the Punisher himself of John Barenfall has been confirmed to appear in the 4th Spider-Man film of Brand New Day. Now currently it's unclear how big a presence he has in this film, but given the rumors of the numerous rumors that the film will also see the appearance of the Hulk in a sizable role in this project, alongside the casting of Sadie Sink in an unknown role at the time, which so far the frontrunner one is being Gwen Stacy, it'll be intriguing to see how this will lead into the next big Avengers film in general, and the likes of any other ones appearing. Now, the likes of this announcement is a great one. I'm all for it. It's interesting to see if the likes of this character will lead Peter down more of a possible dark path, but we'll have to see in this. And I do wonder if we will see also Matt Murdock make an appearance as well as Daredevil himself, but because I feel it may have something to do with possibly connecting to, you know, the recent Daredevil series of them stopping Kingpin from this edition. But I would say for the moment we'll have to wait and see what comes of this role, and we will see when this starts production some point in the next few weeks before it's released in July next year. But speaking of big releases, there is a discussion that we have yet another new film coming out for the MCU post Secret Wars, as a new release date for a Marvel title has been dropped for December 15th of 2028. Now this is not the only film confirmed for Marvel for this year, as there's already a confirmed 3 MCU films dated for 2020 already, which includes a release in February, May, and November of that year as well. Now all of them have not been confirmed to be told what they consist of. Now we do know there's some few films that are currently on the way that either have no date or are in development, and I feel it could be either like the case of the third Black Panther film that has confirmed Denzel Washington in the film, a possible sequel to Fantastic Four which I believe they've confirmed this week. It could be the long delayed Blade film with Shala Ali, the next entry of the Guardians films, a Shang-Chi sequel after all this time, the third Doctor Strange, supposed Fit 4 movie, or even the likes of a new team up with the proper introduction of the mutants of the X-Men. But at this moment it's unclear as to what those ones will be taking that spot. And then again, there was a lot of people projected for Phase 6, but it's unclear right now if they are Phase 6 or Phase 7. But I guess we will see in due time, and given that Marvel's not set for an appearance at this year's Comic-Con, I guess we'll probably have to wait a bit longer to find out what those films might be in particular. But speaking of mutants themselves, we mentioned about a month ago that there was talks that Thunderbolts director of Jake Schreier was in talks to direct the first X-Men film in the MCU, and at the time it was just some rumors. But it was finally confirmed this week that we will be handling this new team of characters for the shared universe debut, and I think it's a really top choice to do so after showing the success of the ragtag group of like anti-Avengers just recently. Now, as mentioned in this little story segment, we don't have a release date for this as of yet, or much confirmed casting of the new versions of the popular mutants. We have a few rumored ones, but they're not confirmed yet. But I'm sure we'll get some more idea in due time, and I'll provide some more updates when they do come about of like any confirmed casting or when we can expect this film. And as for the one piece of news coming to us from DC, we do have a bit of an update to a project that we know is on the way, the next one after Supergirl, and will be part of the wider DCU instead of an Elseworld project or connected to the Batman universe. And as with an update to the new film based on the character of Clayface. As announced on Tuesday this week, we have gotten the leading man for this role, and as with Gentleman star of Tom Ray Harris. Now, I'm happy in the choice because it's a case someone may not be a well-known actor, and something like this will really give them a big break and make his name be well-known with something as big as a project as this. I'm sure it'll be worth seeing how well he will handle his character of changing forms and styles, but I think so far it's a decent choice. It will be worth seeing if there's been more new casting additions will come about for this project, but I'm sure we will see with the start of filming and the release of this project come September of next year. But with all of that regards, I want to know your thoughts on like any of these in particular. Are any of these casting additions exciting to you, and who else would you see appear in some of these roles? In particular, in the case with like who do you see cast for the X-Men roles, and what movies do you think are going to be the release of the 2020 season? Let me know your thoughts down below and we can talk all about them there. Now, the second wave of projects or stories we'll be considering are projects that we don't have a set connected theme to by genre, but more in the basis of projects that have seen announcements or release dates in the works, the likes of returning films, new projects, or ones that hope to be possibly made in the future, but I'm sure we can look deep into the information and get an idea of what we can expect in this regards. So the first is taking us to the form of a galaxy far, far away, but in this instance, it's not going in a direction due to the likes of trademarks and copyright, as in that version. Rather, we're taking on the parody that came before it, and it's so many the first time, and of course, is with the sci-fi parody of Spaceballs. Now, of course, the instance I talked about this production So you may recall from a while ago, I made mention about the likes of that sequel to the original sci-fi comedy was in the works, and it had Josh Gad at the helm in some form of writing for this, as well as possibly starring. Well, it was announced last week that this long overdue sequel is on the way and is coming out in 2027. The film has been possibly dubbed as Spaceballs, The Schwartz Awakens, and besides the announcement that the sequel is on the way, they also announced that 3 of the original stars are coming back for it, with Mel Brooks confirmed to be back, which will make him 100 when the film releases, Bill Pullman confirmed for the release as well, and also Rick Moranis was announced to be coming out of retirement just for this long overdue sequel and be joined by 3 newcomers. Josh Gad confirmed to play the new version of Barf that was played by the late John Candy. Nope, and one of them day stars Keke Palmer, and Thunderbolts and Top Gun Maverick star Lewis Pullman are also set to appear in the sequel. Now, the likes of this does sound exciting, and it may be well worth a visit, and hopefully with all the talent on board for this may be worth a smash success, but for the moment it's all being kept very hush-hush, but I guess we will learn more about this new Space Odyssey when it comes out in due time for its release in 2027. Now, the next on the list of some release date focused confirmations was the new announcement release of a new adaptation in the realm of video games, and it's one that was first announced to be in the works since about 2022. I was announced at the same time as a certain remake, as we got a confirmation that the newest film of Silent Hill, aptly titled Return to Silent Hill, has been confirmed for release date for January 23rd of 2026. Well, at least for the US release, but we'll get more on that date. We'll go off on that date for the moment. Now, on the one hand, it does sound like it's in good hands for the filmmaker and all good stuff, and it's being an adaptation of the second game, which is also a very positive focus, with the recent remake also being a very smash hit. Though the only concern I can see from this, with that knowing the likes of the film is releasing in January, it feels this could also may have so much hope with it, as January is usually seen as the month where movies are a bit more of a mess in terms of box office or reception. But maybe we'll see the case of seeing the case of success like Bad Boys for Life or Megan could be a chance this could also be a success as well, but I guess we'll have to see how it comes about in the future release in January of next year. But we'll see by then, and we'll update anything new that does come about for this upcoming project. So on the third story with a similar vibe, just connect to some video game adaptations, and this relates to the ones that I've seen some success as a limited series on some of the streaming services, which I've seen over the last few years, and looks like a particular producer has got another license to make it feel like they see a bit of lot of axe kicking, but a lack of bubblegum. Because it was announced on Friday or Saturday this week that Castlevania and Devil May Cry Netflix showrunner A.D. Shakar has obtained the license of another 90s or early 2000s gaming series, as with the character IP of Duke Nukem, and it seems to be a case that an anime adaptation for Netflix seems to be likely in the works. I've seen the case those previous shows were both hits, and appears to be some form of appeal to the audience as well. I'm sure it'll be interesting to see how a character like Duke will work in this day and age, if they go all out in the cheesiness like the 90s games and stuff, but we will see the case of how else will turn out in due time. But if any more updates come along for this project, I'll update, of course, in a later episode. The next story is just going to be a little brief update to a story I talked about a little while ago, and that's with the focus of the discussion that Disney was looking to bring back some of their 2D animations for their films, after jumping full 3D for the last decade, with the last 2D focused film being 2011's Winnie the Pooh. Now, it was brought up on Wednesday or Thursday of this week that the animation head of Jared Bush has emphasized that they are full steam ahead with the 2D animation side of things. It sounds like they're coming up with some unique and crazy ideas, which gives me a sense we maybe see our own form of maybe in a unique animation mixed media form or something unique to change animation, but at the moment it's unclear what may entail or what those stories may be in particular. Now, I believe the first hand-drawn film is not from the main studio, but rather from Pixar, as the recently announced film of Gato will be hitting the big screen at first in 2027, as reported to use a fair bit of hand-drawn animation. So we'll all see how this will come up success will entail, and given the hunger for it with the modest success this year of the Day the Earth Blew Up, which I'm still waiting for a release for over here, so please can anyone releasing this in as you can iron, please, that would be great. I'm sure there'll be some appeal for 2D animation projects down the line, but I'm sure we'll see more in due time, and once we get any word on the first project in the style, I'll update, of course, in a later episode. The next of the stories for the group of collection we based on the discussion of some rumors for another entry in a long-running film franchise, and that's what to do with the 26th outing for the popular series of 007. So it's been 4 years since Daniel Craig's last outing as Bond in No Time to Die, and many have been speculating and wondering if we will ever see an all-new edition of this series make a return at some point. Many wondered, besides who was the new Bond, as to who will be the choice to direct the next feature. Well, in the case of the latter, there's been a discussion as of recently that at the moment there's 5 names being floated for the director of the this new entry, of course. These 5 directors currently in discussion are Dune and Blade Runner director Denis Villeneuve, Conclave director Edward Berger, Cornetto Trilogy and Running Man remake director Edgar Wright, Fallout and Westworld showrunner Jonathan Nolan, and Paddington and Wonka director of Paul King have all been in discussion about helming the next entry in the series. No nonsense, I can see any of them have a chance of making it and would each bring a sense of flair to the franchise with unique filming, and some of them with the unique Britishness of the character, I would say as well. Now, the surprising one for me is Nolan's brother as an option, as I would expect more of the Oppenheimer director himself to be itching to make a Bond film, as he has wanted to for a while, and even talked on being the next film after his film with The Odyssey, but maybe it'll be the 27th entry, so who knows? As of right now, nothing has been set in stone, and likely case we will eventually get a decision made on the director, as well as who will take on the suit for the next batch of entries for the series. But I guess only time will tell who we'll be seeing take on the role of James Bond and who will take on this next adventure. And this last one, I question the validity of this, but seems to jump back and forth in terms of how this will come about. But we're talking on an animated film that had a big name star as the main lead, as well as heavily involved in the production of it, that became sort of a part of a big heavy meme culture. And in this case, I'm talking about the film of B-Movie starring Jerry Seinfeld. Now, the original film came out nearly 20 years ago, which I am in disbelief that has been this long ago since it came out, and it seems like it was going to be a one and done thing. However, it seems that Jerry himself may be more than interested in want to do a follow-up to this film after all these years, which I would have to wonder how they work in the story in some way, unless it becomes some form of like a deep environmental message or something like that. Would I watch a sequel? Probably. Do I feel they will still try to form a weird romantic cross species of a woman and a bee, and the woman cucks her boyfriend with a bee who is the real victim here? Yeah, the boyfriend's the victim? I would say probably will. Do I see them making it? I don't know. It's hard to tell if the people want to do a follow-up to this and it's a concept idea. Maybe we can see this become a thing, but given the track record of some recent DreamWorks sequels that have had a long delay in between, maybe it's best to leave it as a separate thing. But I guess we'll see if this does happen. If I do hear anything about this announcement, of course I'll update in a later episode. But what do you make of these announcements? Are you excited for a Spaceballs sequel and a new Silent Hill film? Will you be checking out the new 2D animated Disney films? Will you watch a Duke Nukem series? And would you watch a B-movie sequel? And who is your top choice to play the new Bond? And what director would be your choice for the film? Let me know your thoughts about this down below in the comments. Now, the last one is a bit of a selection of some of the casting announcements that have come out from this week, with a focused selection of some of the few different projects that I have not already talked about in general. Let's get to talking them as we have a bit of discussion of these announcements. So on the first of the projects with a new casting announcement is the return of a team of 2 well-known actors collabing together again on the focus of making an all-new tale of a take on a project with a more high fantasy medieval setting. As announced on Friday, an all-new casting has been added to the reboot of Highlander that is already starring Henry Cavill. That new addition was the casting of Russell Crowe in the film. Now, the 2 actors of course have worked together before in the part, as the 2 of them worked together as father and son in the 2013 Man of Steel film. So seeing them back together again, another project, will be interesting to see how this will play about. Now, at the moment, it's unclear as to who Crow will be playing in this, or any more new additions to the project, or when we can expect it, but I'm sure we'll get more in development in due time, and once you hear anything on this project, I shall update in a later episode. Now, the second casting for this week is bringing some heavy-hitting action to a new casting, and in this instance, may even help fix an issue that follow has at the moment, as was announced earlier this week after some rumored reports that former WWE superstar and now acclaimed actor Dave Bautista has been offered a role in the upcoming sequel to the Roadhouse remake, and that will have him play as a main role in the follow-up. Now, honestly, the likes of this choice is solid, as I like Bautista as his actor and has shown his range from action, serious roles, and even some comical ones, so I'm all for his role in this. If he gets it offered for him and accepts it, I do hope that if it is, it'll help with a bigger issue this film has, besides wondering if this second follow-up is really necessary, and the other cases that hopefully we're going to recast in the role that was played by Conor McGregor, as he has been having a lot of legal issues for being a convicted sex sexual abuser, and there's a lot of other issues that replacing him with Bautista is a much better choice overall. At the moment, it has not been confirmed for his casting as of yet, but once I do hear anything about this follow-up, I will provide some confirmation in a later episode. But speaking of projects that starred Bautista in it, we have gotten a bit of a casting update to the next entry in the series of films based on an acclaimed series of books, as we have the confirmation on some casting for the next entry of the Dune films with Dune Messiah. So currently on the basis what we know about this project is that we have seen Chalamet, Zendaya, Dennis Villeneuve set to direct this one at least, and as well as some other confirmed additions returning, including Florence Pugh, as well as Jason Momoa coming back from the first movie. And one confirmed new casting with Robert Pattinson set to appear in this too before he goes back to play the Batman at the beginning of next year. But in the focus this next story for the moment, for this week, we got the idea of some castings of the next generation to take on the roles after the reign of Atreides. Because it was announced earlier this week that they have cast the children of Paul and Shawnee, with them being Silo star Ida Brooke playing Janima, and Momoa's own son of Nakoya Wolf Momoa playing Leto II in the upcoming film. So like the case of this project will be introduced at the end of the third film, and then likely will lead into a proper focus leading a film adaptation of the Children of Dune storyline, but we'll focus on this one for due time. Now, how much of a presence they'll have in this follow-up as of right now is unclear, but we'll probably see this film enter production in a few weeks and get that kind of idea for by the time the film releases in December of next year. Now, this next one may be a bit of some possibly unconfirmed news, but we have some speculation rumors that indicate that the Merry Crew may be coming back. As according to some producer Jerry Buckenheimer, it seems to be the case that a 6th Pirates of the Caribbean film may be on the way, and a possible return to the original trio of Orlando Bloom, Keira Knightley, and Johnny Depp himself may all be returning, which I feel is what may be wanting for a while, with the last two being mainly Depp-centric and many wanting all three to return back for one more adventure. Now, at the moment, of course, like most of these castings, is all some possible rumors and speculation, and whether this one will happen is unclear right now, but I'm certain that if anything has been announced and once I do hear anything, I will of course update in a later episode. Now, the last of the castings I have in the discussion for this week is the base of a game that may be another possible video game adaptation, and this is another one coming to us from Netflix, and seeing a big name star taking a focus on the quest to save the fair maiden from a dangerous location, as it was announced that Ryan Reynolds has been cast in and will produce a film adaptation of the game of Dragon's Lair and be released onto Netflix. Now, I'm aware of the game as there was a classic animated FMV based game from Don Bluth that also in the same form as Space Ace, as well as a 3D version that came on the PS2 many years ago, and I feel it'll be interesting to see if this will all be a faithful take on the title or if it will be something that is expanded upon, but it's unclear right now. As of the moment, there is no official release date confirmation on this project, but once I of course hear anything about this new version, I will update in a later episode. But I want to know your thoughts on all these casting announcements and regards. Do you think the case, you think Reynolds is a good choice for Dragon's Lair? Would you watch a 6 Pirates of the Caribbean with the original trio back? Do you think it's a good choice of the 2 cast members for the Dune film? Do you think Dave Bautista is a good choice for Roadhouse? And likely case, do you think it's a good choice for the one in Highlander? Let me know your thoughts down below on all these other ones, and with all that, that's all the news that we do have for this week.
I've also been an enigma, a problem, a headache.
And in case now with all of that, that's episode 109 of Weird Mind Newsroom, and I hope you enjoyed this, my ramblings for quite another week. I'm not sure how long this is, but who knows. Now I'm going to keep this one very brief because I am very tired and I'm slowly losing it in this regards. I've not been really great this week, so we'll get that out of the way in regards. But anyway, let me give a quick few updates on some stuff. So, reviews wise, Last of Us season 1 review is going to come along eventually. I'm going to get back to writing it. I'm going to find some time for it this week. My first episode of Sam Snack's Box Office has released, with the first episode being focused on The Fall Guy, which you can check out on my channel below. It's about 2 minutes 40. It's a very quick one. They're all like, these ones are going to be like just YouTube shorts. I'm going to kind of fly through. I have a few more in mind currently right now. The next one I believe is like Beverly Hills Cop, a few other ones in regards, so they're going to come along as well, so keep an eye on those regards. So they'll be in between as well, the normal long form reviews, but we can see the line, so look forward to those reviews, and more will be coming in due time. Gameplay wise, I'm going to find some time as well to record gameplays this week. I've just been very exhausted and very busy this week, as just things have been happening here and everywhere, and just like finding energy to do so bear with me in this regards. They will be coming just more in case, so look forward to those ones. Yeah, but like Super Mario Wonder, Cyberpunk, Star Wars, Outlast, all the other ones as well, some Switch 2 gameplay, as well as getting to Ventilate will be all coming, so look forward to those regards. And in long form stuff, I'm going to get back to the AI video, I'm going to get back to Rewatchathon, I'm going to get back to the time-lapse video, I will get to Harmless World Volume 2 and a few other ones coming along as well, so all these will be coming in due time, so look forward to them. I just apologize, I'm just very busy and just emotionally drained, emotionally exhausted. and as physically exhausted as well. So but anyways, I feel like I'll leave the episode there for now. So if you like my content, want to see more from me more frequently, then simply like and subscribe. So I want to do stuff every single week. My goal for the current period now is to try and reach up to 500 subs first, and then probably get into this year hopefully for 1,000, but we can see over time as this goes on along in case that hopefully people will come along from, like, you know, new fans, people here since day one, and some people that may have been there for a long while that may disappear for a bit, but they're always welcome back. So they're always welcome. As well as case, let me know your thoughts on everything discussed this week, from the new releases, the trailers, and news stories. If anything you've seen, let me know your thoughts on everything discussed down below. In that regards, so I'd love to hear all your thoughts as well in that case. But in that regards, I'm gonna leave it there for now before I ramble on too much longer, and I need to get to bed. As always, you all stay being wonderful people and have a great day every day, doing many great things, and to keep being you, because no one else can do what you do. And of course, I've been your host, Sam, and I shall see you all in the next episode. Hopefully less sweaty and less exhausted. So take care, and I'll see you later.